Hello, my friends. Thank you for joining me. We're going to Romans 12, verse 1. This is 5 Minutes of Faith. I want to spend the next few days talking to you about being transformed or changed, because we are called as Christians to surrender our lives, to give our lives to God, and let Him change us. We are automatically changed in our spirit when you accept and receive Christ. You have a brand new spirit birth, born of God on the inside of you. But now there's also a process of change on the outside, that we're supposed to change our behavior, change our thinking, change the way we speak. And that way we are reflecting God. We are literally letting God live through us, which means you're going to have to allow Him to change you. And I want to talk to you the next few days about this change, because it's important that we're continually analyzing and judging ourselves. Am I different from the world? Am I different from what I once was? Because I want to be more like God. And as I become more like God, more like Jesus, I'm going to become less like my old self and less like the world. Romans 12:1 says, I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Verse 2, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may be able to prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. We again are not to be like the world. I think there's a danger, if we're not careful, the church trying to become relevant, trying to become, something that people will maybe be attracted to or admire as far as the church goes, that we become more and more like the world, that we adopt the mentality and even the entertainment of the world, and we compromise what God says is acceptable and what God says is unacceptable. And if that's what we think it takes to reach the world, we're mistaken. The world is not going to be drawn to us, the Christians, the church, because we're like them. They're going to be drawn because we're like God. People want God. They need God. They don't need just another version of the world. They need God. And our godliness and us becoming like God is what they're going to see, and that's what's going to draw and compel them to come to Jesus. In 1 John 4, verse 5, it says, they are of the world, therefore they speak as of the world, and the world hears them. We are of God. He who knows God hears us. He who is not of God does not hear us. By this we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. How do you know if I'm a follower of Jesus? How do I know if I have the spirit of truth in me? Are you of God? Are you hearing God's voice? Are you becoming like God? Are you being transformed so that you're not of the world? We may be in this world, but we're not of this world. We are meant to be set apart. That's what the word sanctified means. It means to be set apart. Holy means to be set apart. It's not just trying to avoid sin. It's really more trying to become like God. Let Him be the one in you, transforming you. Let's take a look in 1 John 2, verse 16. He says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world is passing away, and the lust of it. But he who does the will of God abides forever. How do I know what's of the world and what's of God? And he lays it out clearly here. And this, you can go back and trace this back to the Garden of Eden. The same temptation that Eve was tempted with. The fruit was good for the eyes. It was, good for food, and it was good to make one wise. Well, this is the same type of temptation. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Whenever you find any of that, even trace amount of that in you, you need to root it out and get rid of it. We need to evaluate ourselves and we always need to be judging. Am I different from the world? Am I different from what I once was? And am I becoming more like Jesus? Because I want to be transformed, and we need to live a transformed life. Amen. Thank you for joining me. This has been another 5 Minutes of Faith.